right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Unbettable. It is your boy Holmes hosting here with my main man Gary. No Mondo today. He is actually doing media for Inter Miami in their opening game tonight. Very hyped for him. So good luck, Mondo. Hopefully that goes really well tonight. But Gary, it is me and you today. How are we feeling on this wonderful Wednesday?
I had a great Wednesday. I got the opportunity to interview a wonderful lady by the name of Fitz Kohler. And honestly, our conversation exceeded my expectations for sure. Got to relate to her on a little bit of a personal level, which made it that much better. And she has a lot of great insight. So be sure to check out the Rec Room video that I'm posting tonight.
Hell yeah, I love to hear that. Definitely make sure you go check out that new interview on Rec Room. Very exciting, all the guests that you're going to be having on that pod. So you definitely want to make sure you check that content out. On today's episode, we will cover a little bit of sports news. We will bring on a special guest, one of my dear friends from the Tea Time Reports podcast, Brandon Meyer. Talk a little bit of sports with him. We'll drop our picks for tonight. We'll go over everything that we need to go over. So, Gare, I think we should talk a little bit about how much the boom in sports betting has like taken over the nation. It is really taken over by storm. Sports betting revenues, Mondo sent this in our chat today, hit $11 billion in 2023. That is up 44.5% from the previous year. I mean, that is absolutely ridiculous. And when you think about it, like we've talked about it here on the pod, we have been waiting for sports betting really to get legalized here for us in Florida. And finally, the Hard Rock bet got released earlier this or not earlier this year, I guess last year in 2023. And we've been loving it. We're not the only ones in Florida that love it. I mean, almost everybody I talked to is on the app. Florida, I'm sure, has been a big contribution to that boom in sports betting. But I mean, Garrett, how do you see it, dude? Because I'm sure you see all of the commercials, all the ads during all the games. Like all we see is ads for FanDuel, DraftKings. I mean, just it's everywhere now. Sports betting has literally taken over the sports world.
Yeah, first of all, fuck the casinos because the only reason they have that revenue is because wait, Hart, are you frozen? Son of a bitch. Hart,
Back to me, or I might come back to you.
wait. All
You're
right.
back. You're back, Garrett.
All right, we're
All
back.
right,
We'll
good.
cut that little segment out.
All right, all right, perfect.
But yeah, it's awesome for us because we talk about it. And of course, hopefully that'll bring some viewership in. But also fuck the casinos because the revenue they are making are your losses. So $11 billion have been lost to the casino. Good shit, guys. But regardless, win or lose, sports betting, I think, opens up a whole new avenue, excuse me, to people who aren't necessarily into sports like that. I know it's kind of what gets me to watch some games that I wouldn't necessarily watch as a casual enjoyer. And it also makes me hate some teams that I wouldn't necessarily hate as a casual enjoyer.
Fair.
But I think it's awesome. I think honestly it's about time. I don't really understand what I mean, I know what the whole holdup was. Um, but I think it's awesome. I think it should be something that's available to people if you want to do it. I mean, of course, it's all a choice. I mean, gambling is a choice if you want to. But it's fun and it's an engaging way to kind of get more people to enjoy some sports that they wouldn't necessarily watch.
Yeah, I agree. I think you hit it on the head there. Like it just makes sports, I think, that much more engaging, especially I was even talking about it on the last pod. Like for the NBA, at least for me, I consider myself a casual viewer. Like I don't really have a favorite team. I don't watch basketball religiously compared to like other sports or anything, but I will say like the rise of betting has gotten me to watch it a lot more because I'm just a lot more invested in the players, the games, the outcomes. Like it puts a different perspective on different sports for you. And I really enjoy that aspect of it. I mean, I think it's one of the cooler things that has developed in the past few years. And to see it grow as rapidly as it has, I mean, I don't think I expected it to boom this big. But like you said, it should be available to anybody that wants to do it. I mean, if you're smart with your bankroll, if you're responsible about the money that you are gambling, not risking more than you can afford to lose, because you are going to lose more than you win, unfortunately, in gambling. That's just the way that it goes. But it is fun just to be able to have that little extra action on games. Like, why not spice it up a little bit?
Yeah, definitely, and it's fun to talk about for sure. And fun to kind of reflect upon. Like, one thing that really stands out in my mind is when you bet on that 0-24 Detroit Mercy team.
Yeah, dude.
I know Hart probably never wants me to speak about it again, but that's kind of one of the fun things that comes from gambling. You'll
Yeah.
catch yourself looking at these 3 a.m. ping pong matches, and that's when you gotta reevaluate. You gotta be like, all right, let me take a step back real quick.
Yeah, I feel like a massive clown for that game. Obviously, that was bad. We won't bring that back up, but unfortunate bet right there. What we will do though is we will talk about some Florida sports because Gare, as you know now, you're a big part in transitioning us to Bull Gator Media. So we got to cover a lot of Gator sports, man. And the first thing that I'm going to cover is Florida baseball and their very big bounce back win last night against UNF. They're back in action tonight, 6:30. By the time you see this, I'm sure they will have already played, but Gare, tonight, 6:30. Make sure you are there. It was a very, very big win for the Gators last night. They needed it after dropping their first game of the season against St. John's at home. To go on the road to Jacksonville at UNF and put up a 10 spot run rule after 7 innings, only gave up 2 hits the entire game. Pitching all around was stellar. Liam Peterson. I know I talked about this guy on the last pod, but man, he showed his stuff last night. 3 innings, 1 hit, 1 walk, 7 Ks. This kid is a freshman. He should have gone to the league last year. He is that talented. He opted to stay in college. He is going to be an integral part of Florida's rotation moving forward. Kevin O'Sullivan already said he wanted to limit him in this matchup because he expects him to be back out there on the mound on Saturday. He's going to be the Saturday guy, and I'm really, really excited to see him moving forward. That was a great debut from him and a great debut from Jake Clemente as well. This is a sophomore that had Tommy John last year, was not able to pitch at all. Highly touted coming out of Marjorie Stoneman Douglas out of South Florida. Great pitcher. Had his debut last night. 1 inning, struck out the side. He looked phenomenal. His stuff is going to be really, really nice as well. And I do think he is going to play himself into a midweek starter role come like, I guess, middle of the season when he starts to ramp up a little bit. As far as the offensive side of the ball, man, Cade Kurland, 4 for 5. Jack Caglione was 2 for 3 with a massive home run, 4 RBIs. Uh, what do I got? Shellnut and Heyman, they both had 2 hits last night. The one disappointment I will say is Brody Donay, a sophomore transfer from Virginia Tech. Dude is massive, like 6'5", 230. Looks like an absolute like oak up there in the batter's box. But dude, this guy swings and misses at like everything. Absolute strikeout machine. I'm really unfortunate because I saw him a lot during fall practices, and the dude has raw power. I mean, he's hitting him as far as Jack's hitting him, and that's pretty hard to do. And Jack's hitting him like 460, 480 out of the park. I mean, Brody was matching him, but unfortunately, he has just not gotten it going so far. 2 games being the DH. I think he is hitless actually through 2 games. A lot of strikeouts. So they're going with a little change of pace. And Tanner Garrison, another transfer catcher from Coastal Carolina tonight, he is going to get the catcher spot, and Luke Heyman's going to move to DH. So we'll see if the shakeup works a little bit. But Brody Donay is going to be a name to keep an eye on down the stretch because if that guy can get hot at the plate, he will be a massive contributor, primarily probably from the DH spot. But Gary, do you have anything you want to add on about Florida baseball?
I mean, last night was definitely the bounce back they needed. A 10-0 win was huge. Granted, UNF is not the best baseball team in the country, but we kind of talked about it where we were like, just because they lost that first opening day match, there's no reason to be afraid. If there's one team here on campus that I have a lot of faith in right now, it is baseball. Basketball, we'll talk about that later, but you know, I full-heartedly believe that the men's baseball team is the best team that the University of Florida has to offer right now.
Mm-hmm.
Softball's cooking as well. I'm not gonna, put them in the dark. They are doing their thing, but if there's a team to watch to win a natty this year, it is men's baseball. Um, Cags, of course, comes out and does his thing. That was huge, honestly, I think, for him. Just kind of a great way to start off his season to show that he still got it. Of course, he still got it, but
Mm-hmm.
it's a good way to kind of refresh your memory.
Mm-hmm.
But that DH stat, I didn't know that one. I don't think that just because he's hitless through 2, we can necessarily put a bag over his head, but I think that, transferring definitely has its pros and cons. And I think, even though you've practiced, you haven't really played a game together.
Mhm.
And I think that's just kind of, where baseball comes down to a mental standpoint rather than a physical. So I think that, give him time and give him time on the bench, especially. That'll give him time to reflect and kind of figure out what he's doing there. So
Yeah.
wouldn't be too worried about it, but big game tonight. Hopefully we can get another sweep. One question I got for you though is how do you feel about the run rule?
I will say that in college, I actually do appreciate it, and I think being such a baseball fan, I can see how that is kind of like a shit take because you want to see obviously like the whole game play out and like the more baseball the better, honestly, as a fan. But at the college level, like we were talking about the other day, like betting more overs than unders, that's just the way a lot of these non-conference games roll. There's just such a talent discrepancy in between a lot of these matchups, especially in the first month of the season, that you'll see these crazy ass scores like 17-4, 12-0. I mean, you're just absolutely blowing out the other team because, again, they just don't have the talent level to be able to keep up with you offensively, pitching wise, defensively. It's not going to be able to come together. So I do like them being able to institute that. I think it prevents some players from injuries. I think it's a good way to kind of give these guys at least a little bit of rest because of how many games that they do play, especially in a week. They can play up to 5 games a week. That's what Florida is actually doing this week. Like a game last night, a game tonight, 3 in the weekend. Like that's going to be 5 in the week. It's a lot of baseball to be played, especially for guys that are starting every day. So if you're able to give them a little bit of rest, I like that part of it. But I will say a negative side to it is kind of in that junk time, that's a good time for like the non-starters to be able to get in the game, kind of get their reps in, get into a game situation. Um, so when the game does end early, those guys kind of lose out on their opportunities, unfortunately. But like, what do you think about it? Do you kind of agree, or you kind of see it the other way, where you would like to see the full games play out all the time?
Yeah, no, I agree. Like I think that when you're playing a team that is not necessarily on your level, there's no reason to go out and risk an injury
Sure.
just to score a few extra runs. But at the same time, I look forward to watching baseball. It's kind of just like a sport you can sit back and watch. And when it's cut out early, it's like, damn, like I kind
Mhm.
of wish the game was closer. Of course, not
True.
actually, but it's just kind of like one of those things where you look forward to it all year, and then they find a way to cut it with. I mean, pitch clock. I feel like is great. Like I feel
Mhm.
like that's one of the best innovations in baseball in the last 50 years.
Yeah.
But the run rule, I think it's good with preventing injury and whatnot. But I guess as a fan, I wish I could consume more of the sport. Put it that way.
Yeah, I agree with you. There's positives and negatives to it. And honestly, before we move on, I wanted to touch on the Brody Donay topic again because I do agree with you in the sense that it's definitely too early to overreact after 2 games. I know it's been a tough going of lately. I just wanted to kind of point that out through 2 games, a guy that they were really expecting, I think, big things from and hasn't panned out so far early. But again, it's not the time to overreact, only 2 games in. But at the same time, you have to know that, again, in this non conference schedule, when Florida gets to SEC play, man, that is going to be the thick of the season. You are going to be playing great teams almost every matchup that you're going to have. This beginning of the season is the time to start to fine tune your performance come that SEC play time because again, these are a lot of the teams that don't have the talent level that you have. You are not going to face the type of pitching right now that you're going to face come SEC play. And then if you go to Omaha, that's the best of the best right there. So you have to be ready to go. So I will say there's going to come a point where he is going to have to kick it up a notch if he wants to stay in the lineup because these are the teams that he needs to have strong offensive performances against. That's all I'll say on that topic. But Gare, let's move into college basketball. Let's stay on the topic of Florida. I want you to kick this one off, man, because Florida basketball, they've won 3 straight games. Great wins. They are finally ranked this season, number 24, going into Alabama tonight, who's ranked number 13 in the nation. Give me your take on this game. Give me your take on the season. Give me your take on potential performance in March Madness. I mean, what do you like about Florida basketball, my guy?
I like the faith that has been held in Florida basketball, and I'm assuming that's not where everybody expects me to go to first. Last season, we look at it, and there were a lot of key guys out there that, we'll never really forget because of their personalities. Chitobo, fucking huge ass motherfucker that couldn't hit a free throw, but I loved him for some reason. Then there was the guy, oh god, he had the two wicks on his head, and then he come out with Dennis Rodman hair. Um,
Oh yeah, bro. I do know who you're talking about. I can't think of his name though.
if
That
you watched
roster
Florida
last year.
basketball last year, you know exactly who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Kawisi Reeves, that was his name.
Nice.
Um,
Nice.
and then you have the key players that are still there, Fudge. And then this season, a lot of those guys leave, and the white boys come off the bench. And I don't really think a lot of people knew what to expect with this change. When the white boys came out though last year, towards the end of the game, the last 2 minutes, the crowd went nuts. They loved it. And now they kind of have this starting role, and they are proving to everybody that they are there for a reason. And Todd Golden is proving to Gator Nation that he is there for a reason. Last year, we talked about the golden year, da 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 da, whatever, whatever. Definitely was not the golden year. This year, though, I think that he this is what I like to see from a Florida coach. For example, Billy Napier, first year kind of rough, second year rougher. It's okay as long as he picks it up. Now,
Mhm.
Todd Golden, I feel like is the full embodiment of this philosophy. First year, kind of rough. Now, this year, we're ranked, we're competing with ranked opponents, and then here we are in Alabama. Now, I think that tonight is going to be a big show up point for the
Mhm.
Gators. Do I think they'll win? I hope they do. What's the spread at? Do you have it?
Florida is a underdog by 8.5 points currently.
And they're playing in Bama?
Playing in Bama. Yep.
I would take Florida to cover this. I don't think that with the mentality of them just becoming ranked, that they are going to fall that far behind. Do I think they'll be coming out, be an outright winner? Probably not, but I do hope that they do. You know what I'm saying? But 8.5, that's pretty disrespectful for you to come into the ranked game, the top 25, playing number 13. To be honest, ranks don't mean shit in basketball, especially
Yeah.
after watching this season. There was a big upset last night. I think it
Creighton
was
over UConn, baby. I had Creighton side in that game. That was awesome to watch.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
basketball is an extremely volatile sport. I know that baseball is kind of, classified as the most volatile of them all. But you watch college basketball and you tell me that you know what direction it's going to go and you're fucking lying. Straight up.
Yeah.
Like, you could have a team down by damn near 20 at the half and they come back and win it. It's literally who wants it more. That's what it is at the collegiate level. And that's what it is in every sport at the collegiate level is who wants it more. Who wants to
Yeah.
be the shining star? Who wants to have their name on Sports Center the next day? And I think that with the recent kind of reputation boosts and confidence boosts that the Gators have got, I wouldn't doubt them. I wouldn't put them out of this game. I definitely think they're going to cover. On my thoughts of them winning or not, I hope they do, but I don't have a definite answer on that.
That is all right. I will say, in terms of just how the season is shaped out, I agree with you, man. Like the trajectory of Todd Golden from year one to year two, you have got to be excited about that if you're a Florida fan. I mean, last year, this is his first year. There's not a lot to be expected. Brings in a couple transfer guys, has some veterans still on the team. And, it's not like they played piss poor last year. It was just a first year head coach coming into an SEC environment that he had never been in before. I mean, that's going to be hard for any first year guy coming in. A second year, start to get your legs under you a little bit. You got some really key transfers that come in. Walter Clayton has been a revelation for this team this season. What an awesome scorer he's been. What an awesome clutch time performer he's been. I think having Riley Kugel come off the bench is actually a smart decision because he provides a lot of firepower. I know he was mainly a starter last year. He found his way into the main rotation a lot, and I'm sure it was hard for him to kind of have to accept a little bit of a bench role with the transfers that came in. But like you said, man, I love the guys that are coming off the bench, like Alex Condon. Uh, Haw had a big night the other night, draining a ton of threes against Georgia. Um, and then Riley Kugel coming off the bench as well. I think those are all great options to have behind your main five that you're putting out there. They're a rebounding machine as a team. I love the way they've just been sticking with ranked opponents this year. I mean, there's so much to love about Florida. And as far as tonight's game goes, Gare, I have to agree with you. I think we can definitely cover this. I don't think the rank's going to go to our head. I know we've had some second half struggles throughout the season, and there has been some times where coming off of the big Kentucky win a couple weeks ago, you come out flat and lose to Texas A&M in the next game. They've won 3 straight. They won a big game against Auburn, held off a comeback against LSU, and won a big game against their former coach in Mike White in Georgia. I think they're going to keep it rolling, man. Like you said, an outright win might be a little tough to ask for, but I think they're going to hang in there tonight. And against the 13 ranked Alabama in Alabama, I think that's all you can ask for. You got to make sure you put up a spirited performance tonight. Don't come out flat. Don't get your ass kicked, because then we'll know that the rank went to their heads. They thought too highly of themselves after this little win streak that they've gotten on, and they can start to put their tournament status in jeopardy. I know it's looked good now for about a couple weeks, but they got to maintain that. They can't just falter for the rest of the season. They have some games to go.
Yeah, and I've been trying to get better with editing the videos, so I'm gonna talk about something real quick. Georgia number 0. I'm gonna insert his face right here. I want you to rate this man on a scale of 1 to 10 in the comments, and we'll talk about it next episode if we get enough comments. But I feel like that man gotta be one of the ugliest motherfuckers I've ever seen in my entire life. He's got to be right up there with Carson Beck. I'm not gonna lie. They might be twins. I don't really know. One of them got a man bun. One of them got a little fade. But we'll see what the public thinks about it.
Yeah,
So
they field some ugly athletes, we will say. I will say though, before we bring on our special guest, I also wanted to put this out there, Gare. If we want to do a March Madness bracket challenge tournament, if any of you are out there and interested in wanting to do it with us, I will be more than happy to set it up through the ESPN app. Me, Gare, Mondo. Obviously, we will participate. We'll try and get Hotska and Braverman to hop into from the Barroom Boys. But let us know if you guys are interested in doing that. Drop us a comment on Twitter, on Instagram, on the bottom of this video. Let us know. If you want to get that started, I will make sure I get that kicked off for us. We'll try and get as many people in as possible, and we'll have a good time with that because it's all about the bragging rights. So if you guys are interested in a bracket challenge, definitely let us know about that.
And as
Garrett?
we're on the tail of announcements, next week I'm going to be starting flipping $1 to 100. And you guys can follow me on that journey. I encourage the guys to join me on that one. I feel like this is a really good idea. Sean Kerber's brought it up, actually, believe it or not.
Love it.
So flipping $1 to 100, I'd like to participate in that one. So be starting that up next week. So
Oh yeah, I will join in with you, Garrett. That is going to be top tier content. Cannot
mhm.
miss that. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back with our special guest, Brandon Meyer. All right, welcome back and welcome a very special guest, Mr. Brandon Meyer from Tea Time Reports. Very excited to have you on. Brandon, how are you doing today, my man?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Holmes, for having me on. I'm excited to be here. I hope people were able to see this Super Bowl edition of Tea Time Bets, man. That was exciting. It's been a minute. We haven't really been able to catch up since then, man. So I know we're gonna touch on that a little bit, but man, I'm excited to be here. I love what you guys have been doing. I've been following it for a while. We're just talking about the TikToks for Gary as well, man. It's awesome what you guys got going, man. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you, dude. We really, really
Appreciate it.
appreciate it. We love the content you got going over there at Tea Time Reports too. I know I've been tuning into all the Tea Time Bets episodes. I love the content you do, especially with the Magic too. Your Magic Mondays. That's great coverage of the Orlando Magic. You never get
Appreciate
Orlando
it.
Magic coverage, so make sure you check that out on Tea Time Reports. But let's dive into just a couple general sports topics, man. We haven't talked since we did that Super Bowl episode edition that you're talking about. What are your thoughts on the Super Bowl, man? The Chiefs turn it into a potential dynasty. I mean, give me everything you got.
Dude, it's honest. I'll start with this. I thought this was probably the best Super Bowl that we've had in a while, to be honest. And I know some people didn't really think that, but just from start to finish, this was the two best teams, in my opinion. And You saw the things that the two teams lacked, the areas that two teams sort of lacked in, led to their downfall in the end of it. And you were sort of satisfied with both sides of the story, with Mahomes and Reed trying to reach that dynasty. You had Mr. Purdy trying to be Mr. Relevant instead of irrelevant anymore. And yes, there were some moments where you're like, okay, yeah, he isn't maybe not yet that Super Bowl winning quarterback, but they definitely did not lose because of him, in my opinion, at all by any mean. And he showed that he could play toe to toe with the best at the biggest stage. And however, I will say this though, I really think that the window is closing for San Fran. That's something that I did take away from this game. You really never know what's going to happen in the NFL year to year, especially after losing the Super Bowl like this. It and the fact that the players didn't even know about the overtime rules, man. Like, and that's where I want to touch on Shanahan as well, because he's now been a part of probably the three worst Super Bowl losses of all time now,
Yeah.
with the Falcons and with the Niners both times. Like, it's just really unfortunate for him. It's really sad to see that something like that when we consider Shanahan to be such a great coach, and he still is, not to take anything away from the guy, but something so small to not have your players ready for in the biggest stage of them all, and there was stuff
Mhm.
that hurt them earlier on in the game. But I thought just as a fan, we we were in for a treat. And I know you were satisfied as a bettor. I think I
Nice.
was a good luck charm for you that night. I was up and down all over the place, bro. Fucking our Instagram chat was going crazy that night
Yeah, it
because
was.
I had Brock Purdy over 12 and a half rushing yards because I bet his under the week before. And then he starts looking like Lamar Jackson in the second half against Detroit.
Hmm.
Then he has 13 fucking rushing yards with 3 seconds left heading into overtime. What's he do? Take a knee, sends it into overtime, finishes with 12. Then I also bet the over in this game, 47 and a half. Over finishes at 47 because the Chiefs score a touchdown and sudden death, and it's over. No extra point. So whether it was with the betting or with just watching the game unfold as a whole, man, you were on the edge of the seat from start to finish. A little bit of a slow start. I was really shocked that there was no touchdowns in the first quarter. That was a bet that I missed on as well. But I want to touch on how you felt. I mean, you hit the non-quarterback touchdown. You hit the Chiefs over on the yards. You hit one other one on there as well, man. Like, what's going on over there, Holmes?
Just felt good for the Super Bowl, dude. I don't know the props that I was seeing on Hard Rock. I mean, there are some good ones out there. I think the other one was both QBs just to complete their first pass.
Yes.
Like for minus 120, I mean, that's a bet I would make on like regular Tuesday night. That's a steal of
Mm-hmm.
a bet to make. I mean, a lot of things fell my way. It was great to see, especially early on. It was exciting. I don't know, man. You must have been the good luck charm coming on tea time like this, feeding the bets like that. That's one of the best weekends I've probably had in betting
Fuck
in
yeah,
a
dude.
long time, long time. I mean, I agree completely with you on the Shanahan take. I mean, to be part of the three worst Super Bowl losses probably now in history, I think that says a lot about his ability to like close and to
Mm.
actually rally his team when it matters the most, to not have them prepped for a potential overtime situation. It's just it leaves a lot to be desired. And I think you're right. A window could definitely be closing there in San Fran. There's a lot of guys to be paid. There's a lot of money to be moved around. There's a lot of talent on that roster, but who knows if it's all going to stay around. Gary, you got
Mm.
anything on it?
Damn, Super Bowl feels like a lifetime ago at this point.
Yeah.
But like Brandon was saying, it was a good game, and I wasn't I don't know if this what's the word for it? Unhappy with the result. I was definitely rooting for the Niners, but as Mondo says, all seeing eye Mondo. He talked about how Mahomes is just inevitable, and they proved it. And I kind of relate this team to the Tom Brady Patriot area where we all kind of hate him because we ain't him. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Where our team is not as good as that team, so we're gonna hate him. Besides the Cowboys, who just get hate all season long, no matter what, rain or shine.
Mhm.
It's just kind of the Chiefs are just now this team where like they're just so good and they've proven it. And now that they have proved it, we all have a reason to just stand on one side and be like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Unless you are a Chiefs fan. If so, good for you.
Well,
Um,
I think there's a weird dynamic with it though, because the fact that Taylor Swift is involved the way she is, so many more people now also love the Chiefs just because of Taylor Swift, you know? Like
mhm.
some people even might argue or are trying to argue that they're turning into America's team in a way just because of Taylor Swift, you know? So it's you literally have like a sea divided of people that just fucking hate them because they're like the Patriots now, or you have just the Chiefs fans or the Swifties that are just on the other side. And it's just a really weird time right now. But I think that the fact that Taylor Swift is in it, just, I don't know, man. It's a little weird to me because the fact that she raised so much, I guess, revenue for the league and they keep using her. I don't really know what's going to happen heading into next year because what if they break up? What if they don't break up? Are they still just going to keep using her for all of next season and all the season before and after that and after that and after that, you know? And I don't know if she's gonna still have the same talking point, maybe. I don't want her to, as I'm still trying to bring her up, but it's just weird because I just think so many more people also are rooting for the Chiefs now because of Taylor Swift. It's just really weird.
Yeah, platform she has is absolutely wild, and she has brought literally just all of her fans to football. And I see them on Twitter all the time. I'm like, they know nothing about the game. They're
Mm-mm.
just here because their like
Hmm.
idol is at
I
the
mean, I
game.
guess it's good because it grows the game, but it's like, eh, at the
Yeah,
same
I
time.
guess grows it in terms of like you said, revenue and just like eyeballs on the game. But in terms of like actually having real fans to be a part of it, we ain't getting shit out of that, unfortunately. That's a that's the downside of it. But
Um,
let's try.
Go
Garrett,
ahead, Holmes. Sorry.
you got something?
No, I just had a question for Brandon. So I know you and Holmes know each other, but I don't really know you. Can you kind of like give us a breakdown of what you do at tea time and kind of just give us like a little backstory of how you started and what got you interested in creating content? I'm just curious.
Oh
Hell
yeah.
yeah, man. So first off, I'm gonna start with my dog Trevor. He's the one that actually is the mastermind and originated Tea Time Reports along with his brothers and the rest of the boys over there. Then I just sort of met them throughout some mutual friends type thing, and it's just always something that I want to do, whether it's podcasts, creating content, whether it's in the sports field or anything media wise, you know, being a journalist, it's always something I've wanted to do. And then I came along with Trevor. We had very like-minded opinions, thoughts, on a lot of the stuff, you know, and I saw what they were doing. They sort of already had it started. And then they were just welcoming enough and just amazing enough to bring me on a part of it as well. And I sort of just took the ground running with it. And it's more of just like a what's the word I'm looking for? It's just like a collaboration amongst all of us, you know, whether we get together and we record episodes or we do solo episodes on our own little sub series, or we get on Zoom calls like this and do episodes. It's really cool as well. Then we're starting to branch out on social media the same way that you guys as well are as well, using things like Reels, TikTok, and making little clips. So I've taken that over as well and just dabbling with that, trying to figure out the algorithms and whatnot, and just creating that type of content for the show, putting that out there, whether it's bold takes or just little moments that I think should be out there from our show, or just little nuggets of chatter that I think are good talking points for everybody out there that might see the video. You know what I'm saying? So as a whole, man, we're just sort of similar to you guys, just a media conglomerate in a way, just trying to put the stuff out there for the people that's just genuine truth, genuine conversation, whether it's sports or not with sports. You know what I'm saying? Because Trevor does some stuff on the news as well. They do some stuff on politics a little bit and on stock market, and a bunch of other stuff as well. You know, so whether you're into sports, whether you want some conversation for some other stuff, we got all of it there, man. It's really cool, man.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. Good for y'all. And you know, I've seen the TikTok and I've seen the editing, and I'm kind of jealous. And I,
Hey man, I'm still a fucking amateur at the very least, whatever it is, man. I'm far from the best, but I appreciate that. I do,
yeah,
I really do. If you ever have like any questions, anything I can show you, but please let me know. I'd be happy to. I'm
yeah,
still learning as well. I mean, YouTube's been my teacher.
true.
Literally. I'm just copy and pasting what I'm seeing from people do on YouTube. I'm not gonna like take the credit as like some fucking master editor, but I will say though I have seen like the progression in it, which has been really cool as well, you know, because I get complacent after a while with stuff, especially when I'm like at the helm of it. So I like always trying to find that like next way to improve, make it better, sort of just change it up a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Totally.
and you're doing a great job, bro. So keep at
Appreciate it,
it.
man.
I'm
Same to
glad
you
I kind
guys.
of
Same to you guys as well, man. I like the
appreciate
little national holiday idea you guys got going on. And
it.
even though it includes torturing yourself, I your commitment is second to none, sir.
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Alrighty,
Gary, your
Holmes.
content is can't miss, bro. I mean, really is, really is. I
All right.
appreciate you asking that question, Gary. Like, just to get a little bit background on Brandon and like what he does, emulating exactly what Gary says, bro. Like, we love the content that you put out. We appreciate everything that you're able to do collabing with us, and we hope to be able to do this like so much more in the future as well.
Yeah, and it's we sort of got something going on like you guys too. Like you have the Barroom Boys and Gary just started one up for him as well. I can't think of it off the top of my head. The Rec Room?
Rec room, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So like we don't sort of have like independent I don't know. We do what we don't, you know, because we just have it
Yeah.
as like sub series on the show. You guys make it like different shows under the same like media, you know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
whether it's like the Magic Mondays or my Raise Ups or Raise the Trop series that I do, that's going to be coming back out soon as well. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. That's
Oh yeah,
something that I would even love to have you on at times as well, man, because I don't
totally.
really have a lot of people to talk raise ball with. So I need some people, man. And or like I said, Trevor doing his news segment, that's always a really good one because I really don't stay in the loop with the news or
Yeah.
politics or anything like that as much as I should. I think it's good to be informed or no, more so just be aware of what's going on rather than being like really informed of everything. But I don't
Totally.
follow any of that shit at all. So I
Mhm.
tune into Trevor's episodes on that whenever I have the time to get some little insight on a little bit of what's going on in the world. So that's really cool as well, man.
Totally. Yeah, yeah. So many great programs that you have really under all one roof. It's very similar to what we do. So I really love that. And honestly, a great transition. They talk is the they
Ooh, did I lose you?
get Med Rosario as an infielder on a 1 year deal. So how are we feeling about Tampa Bay coming into this season?
I'm feeling good, man. You kind of cut out about halfway through that question, but I heard the end of it with Ahmed Rosario. I love that signing, especially with the price that we got him for, man. Very
Hmm.
seasoned player. He can play the shortstop position well. He can play other positions in the infield as well. And I really, I mean, I'm sure you agree with me. Shortstop's a really big question mark right now on this team, you know,
Yeah.
because um, nothing really has come up at all of the Wander thing.
Hmm.
The more time that goes on, the more I think that he's just never going to come back, as unfortunate as that is.
Yeah.
There's Taylor Walls as well. I love Taylor Walls, but he has problems staying healthy when it comes down to it. He showed a little bit of progression at the plate last year, but also dipped down again and showed where he came back down to earth. But when it comes to defending, we know what he's going to bring to the table for us, and he's great there. But we also have Junior Caminero that can play the shortstop position. I wouldn't be
Hmm.
surprised if he's starting there come opening day. But I really do like what Rosario brings to the table. Yes, he's really streaky at the plate at times, but he had a really good season with the Mets. He had a really good season with Cleveland at one point, and I think we're bringing him in more so not to produce like that again, but to sort of meet somewhere in the middle ground with that, but then also have that presence in the locker room, you know, because he's been a part of the Dodgers as well. It's a winning organization around a lot of veteran talent, a lot of players that have won a lot in this league, and he can bring that knowledge and that experience over to this locker room that needs that. You know, we one of the things I was really harping on this last year about is just our lack of veteran presence, you know, that true like captain in our locker room. And Yandy Diaz definitely played that role to the best of his ability last season, but I don't think he can do that alone. I don't think he's like that type of guy either at the same time, you
Hmm.
know, and especially with I mean what happened now with Wander and everything that is transpiring with that. They definitely weathered that great last year and did not let that affect them at all. And it was the next man up mentality. Can't forget
True.
about Slavis Basabi as well because he exemplified that perfectly.
Yeah. Yeah, he did.
But no, I'm excited about this season, man. I'm excited to see how they do in spring training. I'm definitely keeping my eye on this pitching staff, bro.
Hmm.
Um, it worries me a little bit in a way that just we're not going to have McClanahan all season. We lost Tyler Glass now. Jeffrey Springs is coming back from injury. I don't even know if he's going to be playing this year. I have to update myself on that. Same with Drew Rasmussen. I'm not sure how long their injuries are going to sort of roll over this year, but I mean, we got Savali, we got uh Zach Eflin, then who was the third guy we just traded
Uh,
for?
we got
Pepio.
Peapot,
Pepio.
however you say that guy's
So,
name.
yeah, something like that. Then
Mhm. Taj
Taj
Bradley will
Bradley
probably
as
get him
well,
in.
but that's a very young rotation, man. I mean, you got Zach Eflin there, but is he really like a solidified number one?
Yeah.
Like he has the numbers of it, but I just don't feel like he's that shut down number one that like that ace that just comes in there like a Sugar Shane
Yeah.
or someone like Garrett Cole that just come in there and get you a win whenever you need it. He's
Hmm.
going to produce and he's going to have a great record with great ERA, but he's not going to be that ace, he's that great number two guy, that great number three guy like he was last year. But that's something I'm really going to be catching my eye and seeing if someone like Taj Bradley can really step up, man, and really own the moment because he's going to have to. He is, and it's also going to be looking to guys like Randy in the lineup to step up, man. Whether it's producing at the plate, producing on defense, or just producing in the locker room as a leader. We need someone that's just going to step up and say, "Hey, I'm going to rally all of you guys together, follow my lead, and let's go fucking win a title because we have the talent to do it. We have the coaching to do it, you know?"
Hmm.
So as always, I'm always optimistic about the Rays season, man, because I mean the postseason, what, 6 years in a row now? I think maybe seven. Kevin Cash, multiple time manager of the year. I thought he should have been manager of the year last year as well.
Yep.
And any type of move that we make, we have no reason to doubt that move. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think you brought up a ton of great points. I mean, first off, yeah, the pitching staff's going to be a little bit of a question mark. They are really young. It's hard to see Eflin really as that stopper role in that number one position either. I mean, he had great stuff last year. He looked awesome coming over from the Phillies, but like you said, he doesn't really compare to a guy like Shane McClanahan, who's coming in that ace role, who you feel confident in every single time he starts. I mean, I just don't know if I have that same confidence for Eflin. On the topic of Drew Rasmussen, Jeffrey Springs, even Shane Boz, I don't think they're
Mm,
all due to come back until like around the All-Star break. So it's going to be mid-season. It's going to be a while until we have those guys back. And I'm excited to get all of them back because that is three quality arms right there that I'm really excited to insert back into the rotation. But I think if anything, Boz might be back a little bit earlier. He got injured way back in 2022, but they've
Oz
been slow
worries
playing
me.
the hell out of him. And yeah, it worries me. It's just the risk of re-injury scares me always, especially with pitching, especially with the Tommy Johns, the elbow stuff. There's just always so much injury risk there. And a big thing I think that you mentioned too is the lack of veteran leadership. Like as a whole, the team is really young. Junior Caminero might have to step into that starting shortstop role sooner rather than later. Ahmed Rosario could be just like a platoon guy that they're trying to use maybe in between second base and shortstop. They're going to have Isak Paredes at third, Yandy at first, pretty much have the outfield set as it is with Josh Lowe, Jose Siri, and Randy Rosarena. I mean, these are all really young guys that you don't really have somebody that you can look up to in that locker room with a lot of
Mhm.
wisdom, a lot of leadership, somebody that has been there before. Yeah, these guys have been to the playoffs. They made it to the World Series in 2020. We haven't won anything. We
Mm-mm.
don't have the guys with that winning experience. And I think that's a really key piece that we would need going forward. Somebody that has that World Series championship mentality, comes in and brings in that aura to the locker room.
I 100% agree with you, man. It's something that we've lacked from, I, I guess, the start of our franchise. I mean, really,
Yeah.
dude. And as much as we want to hang our hat on being one of the most successful regular season franchises ever since our existence, we have no World Series titles to show for it. None. Zip. Not all we do is hang up wild card banners, bro.
For real. Gare, any thoughts on the Rays?
Mm, feel like I'm gonna go into a tangent, but the other night I watched Moneyball for the first time. If you've never seen Moneyball,
First time?
yeah. So if you've never seen Moneyball, highly recommend. And honestly, bro, that movie put some fire in my ass just for like podcasting in general, but really also showed me that baseball is romantic, as Brad Pitt
Mhm.
says. And when I went to my first Rays game about 5 to 7 years ago, that was the same year that David Ortiz was going to retire, and I was lucky enough to see him play in the Trop. Even though the Trop is an ugly ass place to watch anybody play, it was still cool to see David Ortiz. But like y'all were saying, it's been the same theme ever since I went to my first baseball game, where we have this outstanding regular season, and in the postseason we eat shit with our hands, and it's just so
Literally.
disappointing. Like, and I don't, like Brandon was saying, we have the talent, but I just don't really know what it is that we are lacking at this point. And I'm hoping that this whole thing with Wander doesn't really play into our next season, the drama revolving around that. I feel like they've done a pretty good job of keeping that under wraps. Even though that's something that you don't want to see kept under wraps because you're like, oh, I wonder what he actually did. We all know what he did. He's a fucking weirdo. But I just hope that the Rays can kind of bounce back this season and kind of take that first punch in the mouth they took in the first round last season as some fuel to their fire. And one person that I really think, like Brandon was also saying, that really needs to step up is Randy Arozarena. I think he is a great player and a great baller, but he has a reputation that I think exceeds his actual performance. A lot of people look up to him as this future Hall of Famer guy, but he hasn't really played and proven that he deserves that sort of title. I mean, his backstory is badass, but what he puts out on the field is not really that of a badass. So hopefully we can kind of just put the puzzle pieces together. I think it's going to be a good season. I think the loss of some of our pitching staff will be something that we need to monitor and keep an eye on. But, every season's a new season. You never really know, you never know what's going to happen until it happens. So, keep my fingers crossed. Go Gators, go Rays, go Bucks, go Lightning. We're all going to win a chip this year. So let's see what happens.
Fair analysis, Gary. Very fair analysis. Before we get to the picks, Brandon, you also talked about Magic Mondays. You have that as another little sub series that you have under Tea Time. Talk about the Magic a little bit going into the second half of the season. How are we feeling about playoff opportunities for the Magic coming off of the All Star break? They had a pretty good first half. I think there's a lot to be excited for with this young team. Give me a breakdown on the Magic in the second
Of course, man. I love talking Orlando Magic ball, especially because
half.
like the Rays, bro, I don't have many people to do it with. So we're sitting good right now, man. If you were to ask me right now, looking back at the first half of the season, are you happy with where we're at right now and how the first half has transpired? I would say yes, with a million exclamation points. We finished the first half 30 and 25. We're sitting, I think, in seventh or eighth right now in the East. So right in the middle of that play-in tournament spot. However, we played at least 65% of that first half of the season with no less than 60% of our starting rotation missing. Whether it
Mhm.
was Markel Fultz was out, Wendell Carter Jr. was out, Franz Wagner missed 3 weeks, Paulo Banchero missed a week at one point, Jalen Suggs missed some time. We have only played about 10-15% of our games with our full-fledged starting five in there. And we still set a franchise record with most wins, with our longest winning streak in the first half of the season. We've beat the Nuggets twice. We've beat Milwaukee twice. We've beat these teams that are perennial contenders in both conferences. Then we'll lose to a team like the Hawks or something like that, just typical fashion. But right now we're 30 and 25, like I said. We have 27 games left. And I really do fancy this team, one, to not only make the playoffs, I'm looking for them to more so finish out of that play-in spot. So in six, right around six, maybe five. I started the season, I said five would be their ceiling, fifth seed would be their ceiling end of the season. But to do that, they're going to need to rattle off at least 50 wins come end of the season, and they're going to have to win 20 at least of their next 27 games. Though we do have the easiest remaining schedule, I don't think that's going to happen. So I'm actually one of the picks I was going to get into was during All-Star weekend. I was looking at all the futures for the rest of the year and whatnot, and awards, title winners, conference winners, wins, whatnot. Magic Their win total line sitting at 46.5 right now. I actually took the over on that. I think I'm predicting them to finish with 48, and I think they're going to finish above that 56 or 46.5. I'm sorry, but sitting it's like a minus 105 right now. I really think there's a lot of value in that for a team that, like I said, has the easiest remaining schedule in the rest of the season, and they only need 17 wins. So to go 17-10 in the last 27, I think that's very plausible to do. The last time they did have a winning record in the last second half of the season, though, was like 2019 or 2020. So that is a little bit concerning, but this is the best team that they've had by far since then. And if they can stay healthy, I there's no doubt in my mind that they can do that. The way that Paulo's playing, the way that Franz Wagner's playing, man, both these guys are 20, 21 years old, both averaging 20 points a game, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. And one thing that does scare me though is Cole Anthony. He's in a little bit of a slump right now. I projected this guy to win Sixth Man of the Year, and over the last like month and a half, 2 months, he's only averaging like 9, 10 points a game. Very uncharacteristic of the guy, but I'm keeping my eye on how this team just stays healthy throughout the rest of the year, and if they're able to really show like, look, we're gonna start putting the league on notice because I'll die on a hill saying how underrated Paulo is, how underrated Franz is, but until we start proving that we can make the playoffs and be there to compete year in and year out, and not just make the play in and lose out of the play in, no one's gonna give us that credit, man. So I think if we finish top six this year, definitely ahead of a schedule in that regards, and it's definitely setting us up nice for the next coming years because I mean some people were even saying we're the favorites now, or we're emerging as some of the favorites to land Klay Thompson in the offseason. Orlando's starting to look like more of a likely destination for people to want to come play. I just hope that they keep it all together because we've seen this before with Shaq and Dwight Howard and former number one picks that have come in here and shown they can be MVP caliber. Then we get to the finals and then they either leave the free agency, they request a trade, they walk, it just doesn't work out for somehow, some
Mhm.
way. So I just hope that history doesn't repeat itself in that regard. And third time's a charm with Paulo, man. But
Yeah.
touching on All-Star weekend, overall, it was shit, just like every other year with the NBA All-Star Weekend. It was a highlight for the Magic, though. I think the Magic actually won the All-Star Weekend, in my opinion. Paulo was the only player to play in the Rising Stars Challenge, the Skills Challenge, and the All-Star Game. Mac McClung won the dunk contest. He plays for the G League team.
Yes, sir.
Then Trevelyan Queen won the Next Man Up MVP award in the G League game as well. So, I mean, we just pretty much clean sweeps in that regard. Paulo was the leading rebounder in the All-Star game as well. So a lot of stuff to be happy about as a Magic fan. So we have a lot of momentum right into the end of the season, or not the end of the season, the second half of the season right now. So odds are in our favor. I think this team's definitely gonna at least finish in the top eight, man. But my ceiling for them's top five, top six. I think they can do
I love that. Fucking great
it.
analysis.
Thank you.
You
Thank you.
want more of this fantastic content, you tune into Magic Mondays and Tea Time Reports. Brandon's got all the coverage on the Orlando Magic. I'm excited for the second half of the season too, man. Just watching a few of the games in the first half. I mean, they're a very young team, but there's so much promising talent. You keep everybody healthy, like you said, and they have unlimited potential. Unlimited. So like you said too, All-Star weekend, it was pretty shit. There are some good things that I saw out of it, but it was pretty shit. For the Orlando Magic, it was great. Gary, you got any thoughts on the Orlando Magic or the shitty All-Star weekend?
Nah, man, I at this point, I'm all starred out. I've talked about it twice now. Only highlight really that I saw was a 3-point contest. Fuck Kenny Smith for what he had to say about Sabrina. You're a piece of shit. Um, and don't drink and announce. I guess you have don't drink and drive. Don't drink and announce. I guess that should be a new term that we keep. But I'm not big into basketball. I say it all the time. But I am from Orlando, and if I had to pick an NBA team to follow, it would be the Magic. And listening to Brandon talk, he
I
kind of
heard
kind
I
of
heard
put
you
some
singing that
fire in
song.
me.
Good.
Yeah,
I heard you
yeah.
singing that song.
Well, every single time I go on Twitter and TikTok, and the Orlando Magic, the one thing I will give them props for is their social media team is
Dude.
something else for some of the shit they post. Um, it's pretty funny,
It's
and
I bet you it's just some UFC or UCF intern,
oh yeah,
some
dude. I
college,
mean,
just some UCF college kid, bro, just knowing the trends and just passing the vibe check.
yeah, and it's so funny, but they always play the song. my roommate Abai is a diehard Magic fan, and he watches every game. So,
Sick.
thanks to him, I've gotten some content out of it. But
Nice.
he definitely
That's
inspired
like
me
a
to want
smart
to
man.
watch more, for sure. So,
That's what I love to hear. That's sick. That's awesome. So as you just heard, Brandon just gave out a fire future on the Magic win total -105 over 46.5. That's going to lead us right into the pick segment. Brandon, take it away. Let me know what you got. We'll post all of the picks on our Twitter. Obviously, you can check those out. Make sure you are following us on the Unbettable Twitter. We post all the picks there. Want to make sure you get all of those in early. Brandon, take it away, my guy.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna start with some hockey.
Let's do
There's
it.
really nothing going on tonight. The NBA starts back up tomorrow. Some college basketball on tonight. Other than that, we're stuck with some hockey, man. So I'm gonna ride with it. I'm gonna start with the Edmonton Oilers. They're hosting the Boston Bruins tonight. 10 o'clock, late game. I'll be up for it. I'm off work tomorrow, baby. So I'm either gonna go to sleep really happy or very upset. Boston's 1-4 in their last 5 games. Hampus Lindholm, their star defenseman's out. I'm taking Edmonton -1.5 in this game at plus 170. And I think there's a lot of value in that one. And two, this is more so just a spiteful bet against Boston. I think you might know why, Holmes. Because I was really relying on them a week or so ago to help me rebound from some of my Super Bowl losings. And they were hosting the Kraken, and I hammered them to win money line. I hammered them to cover the spread and two different
So so
bets,
hard.
and they sold both of them. So fuck the Bruins. It was always fuck the Bruins before that because I hate all Boston teams. But now it's even more fuck the Bruins. I think Connor McDavid is going to come out tonight and just smash the Johnson all over the face of the Bruins. Um, the Bruins have given up 18 points in their last, or 18 goals in their last 5 games. Edmonton's won 17 in the last 20. Besides an overtime win a couple nights ago, Edmonton usually wins by like 2, 3, 4 goals at a time, just because with all the star power they have, when they start clicking and they don't stop. Um, then moving on, the Toronto Maple Leafs are playing the Arizona Coyotes tonight in Arizona, I believe. And for this one, I made a nice little same game parlay, not a same day parlay. I've had a couple of those before, and it's led with the Bruins because fuck the Bruins, man. And back to that. So I got the Maple Leafs just to win outright tonight, money line. I got John Tavares over 3.5 shots on goal. William Nylander anytime goal tonight. Mitchell Marner over half an assist, so one assist or more essentially from him. Then this was a sneaky one I put on there. Max Domi, he was a former Coyote himself. He was drafted by the Coyotes many years ago. Over half a point for him as well. I like him to get either a goal or an assist tonight. Such a nice little 5 leg parlay plus 800. All just Maple Leafs tonight. I'm riding with them heavy. They're on a hot streak. They've won 4 in a row. Arizona Coyotes are just dog water. And
Yeah, I love that.
yeah, I think I can't go wrong with that. It's almost too easy, and usually when that happens, I tend to stay away from it, but that has always been in football. So I'm hoping hockey might have some different luck for me, you know? It looks too easy tonight, man. All across the board for the Maple Leafs.
I love that. That's so far. All right, we're gonna make sure we put that on the Twitter because those are some absolutely great picks.
Then like I said, I have a sneaky little college baseball pick for you and as well in honor of you guys and your Gators. I like
Wow.
them. What was it? I think no. Where was the line? I think it was still -1,000 tonight, something like that. They were like heavy favorites. So I just
Yeah.
I forget who they're playing, bro. But I mean, it's the Florida. I gotta represent the Florida Gators and
But
gotta represent the NCAA baseball in honor of you guys. Oh yeah, they're playing the North Florida Ospreys -1,000 tonight in their money line. Um, so I got that for you guys. Then to round it out. I got the USF men's basketball team money line -275 against UTSA tonight. USF has won, I think, 10, 11 games in a row now. They're 17, 4-2 against the spread. They just played UTSA about 2, 3 weeks ago. They beat them by 15. And South Florida's reeling right now, man. They're starting to really gain some traction throughout the entire NCAA basketball world. And they've gotten some transfers from some pretty big schools this past couple seasons, and they're really starting to put themselves on the map, man. So keep an eye out for USF basketball. You'd love to see that, especially here locally in Tampa, man. That rounds out my picks for tonight, man. A little bit of little baseball. Oh wait, I'm sorry, I forgot one. Number 24 Florida is heading to number 13 Alabama tonight in men's college basketball. I got Florida money line in that. I think it's like plus 270. Then I also have
Wow.
the under in that game, under 174.5. I don't really have much reasoning behind the Florida money line, just more so because fuck Bama and I'm supporting the Gators again, man. So,
Great
and
pick.
the only times that I've bet against the Gators this year in men's basketball, they let me down. Actually, they let me down in a way that like they beat the team that I bet to beat them. You
Okay.
know what I'm
All right.
saying?
Fair.
So I'm done betting against them in a way.
I love it. I love it. Fantastic picks, Brandon. Absolutely love those. Like we said, we're going to put those on the Twitter. Make sure you check that out at Unbettable. We'll make sure we get Tea Time Reports tagged as well. I'm going to throw out some picks that we got for tonight as well. I'm going to take some hockey from Nick Lip himself. Our guy has been hot as hell in hockey. Gary, you already know, brother. He gave me 2 anytime goal scorers last night. One of them hit easily in the Jets game. Other guy got injured 20 seconds into the game. So Nick Lip was on his way going 2 for 2 last night. We're going to take Tage Thompson for the Buffalo Sabres plus 155 to score against Montreal tonight. We're also going to put a 2-way parlay together. A little same game from Nick Lip plus 130. We're going to put together the Flyers money line against the Blackhawks and Connor Bedard over 0.5 points. He has gotten multiple points in all of his last 3 games. This guy's hot as hell right now. But we're going to take the Flyers to win because the
Mhm.
Blackhawks are a trash team. To college basketball. I'm going to take Xavier minus 4.5 at home against Providence tonight for minus 115. They have already blown out Providence earlier this year. They have been very, very good at home. I expect them to do the same thing tonight because they are fighting for their lives. They really need to win this game to make sure they give themselves some type of case heading into the end of the season, into March Madness. I'm also going to take New Mexico minus 5.5. This is the system play. Home unranked favorites against ranked teams. New Mexico,
I
unranked,
saw that.
minus 5.5. You loved it. You know the
I
system,
love
Brandon.
that.
You
I
know it.
know. Yes. Same
I
record
hop,
too.
yes, I hop on those every single time I see them. This one I got it last night at minus 5.5. I think the number has ticked all the way to 7.5 the last time I saw it. So I got it for minus 110. If you're able to find an alternate number, definitely play that if you want to. But I love this system play. We're gonna rock with New Mexico tonight. And college baseball. We cannot go without talking about college baseball. We are with Brandon, but we are going to take the spread. Florida minus 4.5. I think they're going to kick the shit out of the Ospreys again tonight. They're back at home in the little home series against UNF. I think they're going to absolutely blow them out tonight. I could see another run rule happening. The offense is hot. Give me Florida minus 4.5 for minus 150. And then give me FGCU money line plus 100. If you don't know about FGCU, they took TCU to the wire this past weekend. Did they lose all 3 games? Yeah, they did. Should they have lost all 3 games? No, they shouldn't have. They are an underdog at home tonight against, let me tell you about this team. Let me tell you about this team, the Indiana State Sycamores. I think it's Indiana State.
Yeah,
Yes,
it is.
possibly. Yes. They will not play a home baseball game until March 12th. If you did not hear me correctly, yes, March 12th. They just played a series at USF, or not a series, a tournament. Played 3 games, won all 3 in Tampa. Now they got to go to Florida Gulf Coast tonight. They got to go to Port Charlotte next weekend for another tournament. And they got to go to Nashville midweek for Vanderbilt. Then they got to go to Mississippi for a weekend at Southern Miss. Then they got to go to Tallahassee for a weekend at Florida A&M. And then they finally come back home March 12th, Tuesday, to face Illinois. That is a ridiculous amount of time to be on the road for a college baseball team. I'm fucking hammering FGCU tonight to get their first win. Then we also put 2 parlays together because you know we have to do with these deep ass money lines. Miami, Mississippi State, and Southern Miss all put together for plus 146. And then Duke, Ole Miss, and Virginia put together for plus 130. Virginia actually played a little bit earlier today and already got a win. So that is very big. Miami is up 3-1 against UCF right now. Ole Miss is down 4-0. We need them to come back. Mississippi State is up 6-4 against Austin Peay. We need them to have a big bounce back after their loss last night. And then there was another game that I saw was also on right now. Oh, Duke. What just happened to Duke? Duke might have, yes, Duke won 4-2. So Duke and Virginia already cashed us. We just need Ole Miss for that last leg. But that is all the plays that we got for tonight. Holy hell, that was a long time to
Dude,
talk about all that.
that was electric. That
I'm
was,
feeling
dude,
good.
this guy on college baseball, man. I'm here for it.
Dude,
I'm here for it.
I am going to give away college picks all season long because I love this damn sport. It's so much fun. Not a lot of people bet on it, but we are going to put together plays all the time. I love it.
Gary's shaking his head like, God damn.
No, he loves it like Nick Lip loves a big bag of dicks, and I'm gonna clip that and send it to him. So,
Oh
That's
man.
crazy. That's crazy. Well, Garrett, do you have any picks for tonight? Anything that you want to say before we sign off for today?
nah, dude. Something random I saw today on Twitter though is UCF plays Arizona this year at the Bounce House in football, and midway through the game there's gonna be a rocket launch. Super random tidbit, but I saw it today on Twitter, and that's pretty dope.
Is it gonna be in view of like the middle of the stadium and stuff too?
Yeah,
Is that
yeah,
how
it's
they
supposed to
have it?
go like right over the motherfucker, so
Oh fuck
that's
yeah.
pretty dope. But yeah, other than that, I don't really got much.
Dude, I'm going to that game. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, that's got to be some good shit. Well, that was fantastic. Brandon, once again, brother, thank you so much for hopping on this episode, talking some sports, talking some picks with us. It was great to have you on. As always, please make sure you check out the Tea Time Reports podcast. So much great content putting out by Brandon and all the boys over there. Brandon, thank you so much, man. We appreciate it.
Thank you guys. Seriously, bro. This was a blast. Hopefully I'll be on here a lot more, bro. I'm looking forward to having you more on Tea Time Bets, Ray series, everything, bro. So let me know, man. Anytime you guys want to do anything, I'm here for it. Trevor's here for it, man. We're here, man. This is gonna be great. And I'm excited, bro. I'm excited to see where the both of us continue to go for real.
Hell yeah,
Unreal.
brother. Only up, baby. Only up. You'll always have an invite back, brother. We will, of course, have you on a ton more in the future. But again, if you loved this episode, make sure you drop us a like. Make sure you subscribe to Bull Cater Broadcasting. Make sure you share this with everyone that you know. Make sure you check out my boy Brandon Meyer over at Tea Time Reports. Thank you so much to everybody for tuning into this episode. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and we will see you next week. Peace.
Peace.